First up, sources telling Yahoo Finance's Julie Hyman that NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang will be meeting with President Trump today. The two are expected to meet this afternoon to discuss artificial intelligence policy. Now, sources saying that the meeting has been in the works since before the DeepSeek-driven rout that triggered NVIDIA's stock to have its worst single-day performance. You're looking at NVIDIA shares reversing some of those earlier declines that we saw in earlier action here this morning. You're now looking at gains of just about 0.8%. Clearly, AI policy very much is going to be in focus. That is a no-brainer here for these discussions. But again, when you talk about the impact of what this could have and ultimately the importance of this meeting, clearly NVIDIA has very much been the target here of the Biden administration, potentially the Trump administration, just in terms of some of the curbs that have been implemented, clearly having an impact on their most advanced chips. So would be advantageous to have NVIDIA CEO travel to the White House. He has been very open, saying that he would be willing to meet with President Trump. He was asked about that earlier this month. So again, all eyes will be on this meeting and any development out of that.
Yeah, and it was just a report, right? We didn't get full confirmation on this, but it was a report from Bloomberg out on Wednesday that had sent NVIDIA shares lower as well, talking about additional curbs that the Trump administration had been considering. So it was in early stages, but they were considering additional curbs on NVIDIA's sales to China that would actually impact one of the chips that NVIDIA currently sells to China under the Biden restrictions. But I think, Shauna, this all brings up sort of an interesting point post DeepSeek that I've been thinking about a lot, which is I understand why you wouldn't want NVIDIA's AI chips perhaps going to China if you're going to have sort of this AI war going on between the two countries and who can build it the fastest, right? But also hurting the American business by not letting them continue to grow and sell chips there might not help our AI companies grow as much. And I just feel like there's two sides to this, right? And it's not an easy way to just say it makes sense for U.S. companies to not sell chips, AI chips to China. We don't want them to use our chips. I don't know if it's that linear of an argument when you think about the different dynamics at play here.
Well, certainly it's the national security argument versus the revenue argument and the bottom line impact that it's going to have on so many of these companies, which is why we've seen so many from the chip sector just be very communicative and outspoken just about the impact that this could have on revenues down the line. I think it's also going to be interesting to learn a little bit more just about how President Trump is thinking about all of this. Because even his commentary on DeepSeek, saying that it was, I believe he called it a wake-up call for the industry, but then was also complimentary, maybe you can even go as far as just saying that this is actually good news here just in terms of wider adoption, very much the argument that we have heard here on Yahoo Finance time and time again. So again, what those new AI solutions that he has touted, what that future investment infrastructure could potentially look like here, specifically geared towards AI, and then of course counterbalancing that with some of the more hawkish rhetoric that we've gotten on future curbs, of course, clearly front of mind for not only these larger tech CEOs, but clearly for investors, for analysts as well.
We've already had one large announcement from this administration about investing in AI here in the U.S., right? That $500 billion investment. What more are we going to hear as we carry on here, I think will be key to probably watch next week.
The unlikely meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Jensen Huang, the charismatic CEO of Nvidia, unfolded at the White House, stirring curiosity and rampant speculation. While neither leader divulged the detailed outcomes of their private exchange, the ripples of their discussion are already evident, with speculation about the possible bright future of Nvidia under this administration. However, as geopolitical tensions simmer, it's clear that the path ahead for AI supremacy will be anything but straightforward. Welcome back to Investocracy.
Well, we're lucky because Jim Cramer was listening, and he did come down to join us on the set.
I always listen.
And I'm glad we had a chair here for you, because I really feel like this is one of those conversations after one of these pivotal weeks that we need to hear from you. What do you make, first of all, of Steve's assessment that, look, a lot of these stocks were punished too much, that they still have an overwhelmingly large competitive advantage, and now's the time? You might not time it perfectly, but why not today?
Okay, look, I think the problem is you can never pretend that you know when you don't know. And it's always gutsy to come out and say, listen, I don't know. I mean, look, right now, Jensen Huang's with the president. I would like to hear what he has to say. And we need, if you're long this stock, you need to hear that the president wants to undo what Biden did right at the end, which is to say, listen, we're only going to let them sell a lot to 18 friendly countries, which, by the way, they left off some major countries like Israel, which is supposed to be a friend as far as I know. I listened to Alex Karp earlier. I would say definitely. But lots of other countries that are in the EU. So we need to hear that reversed. You need to hear that the president doesn't fear that chips are going to go to China of the lower level. Remember, they were giving lesser chips chips to China, and that that NVIDIA has been able to convince him that there is no backdoor from Singapore. There isn't, because I think that they are able to account for all those. So let's go back to, and by the way, I know that Jensen Huang hates Moore's Law, thinks it's dead. But I think the biggest issue is we got through the hurdle of Meta saying they need it. We know that Oracle needs it without a problem. We absolutely got that. We know that Apple wants anything it can get, and they're a free rider. They'll be good. But we know that Microsoft needs more. But what we don't know is Amazon. And next week, Amazon, what happens if Amazon says, it plays hardball and says, you know what, we don't need as many? Then you have this plummet, and I am concerned about that. Otherwise, look, I think that DeepSeek's playing checkers, and these guys are playing grandmaster chess. Just so you know, you cannot use. By the way, the reliability of DeepSeek is ridiculous. I don't know why anyone thinks it's any good. We were doing some stuff putting in Winston 1984, and first it was talking about how he was told to dissemble in favor of the government, and then it took that right away. But I will say, look, what can DeepSeek not do that Jensen knows that NVIDIA can do? Multimodal memory, spatial intelligence, physical actuators, vision, and touch. So you can't use it for robots, and you can't use it for self-drive. So what the hell good is it? So anyway, it's good and bad. But boy, do I ever want to hear from Amazon. I want to hear from Google, too, before I just say, hey, you know what? We're home free.
So is it then overstating it to say that they have, NVIDIA being the they, have gone from in the driver's seat to on the defensive? I suppose both can be true. I mean, they are still in the driver's seat. Look, we didn't even mention OpenAI, the fact that they're doing this huge raise at such an incredible valuation. Where are they going to go with the money to buy what they need? Probably NVIDIA.
Right. Well, absolutely. You go to NVIDIA. I think that, and I used to work very close with Stephanie, and we would say, well, you know, when someone doesn't have anything to say, you can't necessarily attribute that it's good. And there are many things you can say, and we've all had many different guests during quiet period. And they didn't reveal the numbers, but they gave you a sense of what's going on. Alex Karp is quiet period. He's reporting on Monday. And he just did this incredibly long interview with Sarah. And you can say, well, if he can talk like that and talk about broader themes of Palantir, then Jensen should be able to talk about it in a situation where obviously his stock has had a material move.
From the moment the news broke, there was a palpable thrill in the air. It was as if the announcement of this monumental meeting had transformed every investor into an eager detective piecing together a complex puzzle. No wonder, considering the dramatic backdrop. DeepSeek's AI model achieving what many believed was impossible, knocking giants aside while powering its way to the top spot in Apple's App Store, all within days. This was no ordinary tech hurdle, and both Trump and Huang knew it. As they convened behind closed doors, the stakes could not have been higher. But before going on with the video, are you into cryptocurrency? If so, check out our second channel, Investocracy Crypto. We bring you breaking news, expert analysis, and the latest trends in the fast-moving world of digital assets. Whether you're a seasoned crypto investor or just curious about the future of finance, we've got something for you. Click the link in the description to subscribe to Investocracy Crypto now. Don't miss out and stay ahead of the game. Now, let's get back to the video.
You're saying the silence is deafening to
I think
you on
silence is
NVIDIA's
not
part. Now,
golden.
maybe Jensen Huang uses the appearance at the White House today. As I said, I mean, obviously in these circumstances, there are cameras there. We're going to have a stakeout camera. Right. And maybe he comes to the camera and he addresses some of the questions from our producer or reporter who might be on site. We'll have to wait and see. But you own the Amazons of the world that Jim wants to hear from, and you're going to hear next week from that company?
Yeah, I think they're going to spend more money. And by the way, Jim, OpenAI, the rumor is they're actually going to use Broadcom's custom.
Well, that's the custom chips, but Broadcom's going up.
Right, so they'll use both.
Well, and we know, by the way, that Amazon likes custom because it's cheaper.
That's right.
I know that Meta does everything because Hock Tan's on the board of Meta, and he's the CEO of.
Stop spending, though.
No,
you know what I mean?
No,
like,
but I'm just saying.
Maybe a little less than what they were going to, but I can't imagine that they would They have to keep up with the rest of the industry to be leaders.
Oh, they have to spend. I'm just saying, what happens if they're caged?
Yeah.
Why don't they why don't they bargain to get the best price, even though they need everyone? I think NVIDIA is one of the best companies in the world. That's not changed. But I do say that this is a thicket. And I'd like to hear that even if Amazon walked away, we don't know. Remember the demand was insane and demand was crazy? I just want to hear that.
For Trump and his administration, one thing was clear. Safeguarding the country's technological lead was imperative. The discussion was not just about immediate policy shifts, but about the broader trajectory of AI technology. However, as whispers in Washington intensified, new policies loomed large over NVIDIA's roadmap, particularly affecting its operations in the lucrative Chinese market. Adding fuel to this fire were insights from industry insiders who suggested U.S. lawmakers were actively lobbying for additional parameters on NVIDIA's exports. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Right, and that's what Jensen said.
I want to hear it again. Is that too big?
And
Is that too much to ask?
I think that was at the Communicopia conference out in San Francisco.
He does
that
have a
Jensen Huang
huge,
did
he
that.
has this huge conference in March. But I just, look, am I nervous? If you're not nervous and a stock has that kind of move, I don't know if you're a good manager.
And what do you make of the move from Jim to trim some of his position? Because he's admittedly a little nervous about where we are.
Remember, that's what we do.
But bear in mind, it's, you take NVIDIA. I don't have to tell you this. It's up threefold in 15 months. I'd be a fool not to.
Well,
give me a second here.
No, I'm saying this is why you're a manager.
Exactly. It's risk management. But can I just point something out that I think is important? NVIDIA, Microsoft, they don't exist in a vacuum. You started, Scott. Your first question was, does the market have jitters? And I said only a sector does. Look, Microsoft, and I want your opinion on this, Microsoft and NVIDIA are down on the year. The market, the S&P 500 is up. Is it possible, Jimmy, that maybe the market broadening can happen without a disaster rate? Because everybody says that concentration of the top 10 names, it usually comes down with the market having a wipeout. Is it possible that maybe we get the broadening without an overall disaster?
I had an existential crisis this week. I said to my wife, I believe I missed a 10-bagger in Brinker, which is Chili's, because I've been so concerned about NVIDIA. And that makes me a manager who sucks. And she goes, I think that's a little too strong.
I think that's strong, too. I think it's too strong.
Well, like I said, it was existential for a second. But, you can't do it. You can't just say, I'm going to focus on NVIDIA, and I'm going to miss a 10-bagger because I'm a good manager. No, you're not. So that's what's at stake.
The volatility might have introduced some nerve-wracking days for NVIDIA, but remember, the stock market thrives on uncertainty. NVIDIA, with its robust history of innovation, stands at a pivotal juncture filled with both risk and potential growth, and the recent meeting with Trump proves this, among other things. So, what's your take on all the recent happenings? Share your thoughts. Finally, if you would like to know what companies like NVIDIA have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.